Hello everyone, I'm Drachona, and it is fucking windy outside. Anyway, I just wanted to present my quick thoughts on the Beauty and the Beast live action film that's coming out this weekend. I'm kind of about it. I mean, I don't think I'm going to go see it because nothing about the trailer really captured me, and I think that's part of the problem. And generally what I wanted to talk about is just how this film looks. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast. I like the original movie, but I'm not a fanatic about it. I'm not crazy about the film. It's a good movie. I guess part of the problem is I'm a little tired of the live action remakes already, and there are more coming in the future, supposedly. At some point, they're supposedly going to do a Lion King live action film. I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion on that. I think that's a bad idea. I really think that's a bad idea. For one thing, I don't know if you could really make it live action if all of the characters are non-human animals. And based on how they did Jungle Book and how they're doing Beauty and the Beast, all those characters would probably be CG. So is it really live action if none of the characters are real? I guess you could call it live action if the backgrounds are real, but even then, there's probably going to be a lot of CG because, like, how are you going to make the elephant graveyard real? It'd be cool if they did. It'd be cool if they, like, use sets or whatever to make that real, but even still, the main characters are going to have to be CG, so that's not really live action. I suppose they could throw in some human characters to... So there's something real there, kind of like in Jungle Book, Mowgli was the only real character. But I think that would be a really bad idea. I really don't think that you should inject human characters into The Lion King because I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but Lion King is the only Disney movie, at least that I'm aware of, where all of the characters are non-human animals. Think about that for a second. I mean, yeah, we have movies like Robin Hood, Zootopia, where they're anthropomorphic non-human animals, but Lion King is the only Disney film, again, that I'm aware of, maybe there's some obscure one that I don't know, where every single character is a non-human animal. Not anthropomorphized, not human, just a non-human animal. And that's really unique. I mean, and it's not just some film. It's a really popular film, and it has no humans in it. So I really don't think you should, like, inject poachers into it. That would be completely unnecessary. I know that they have to make changes to make the live-action films different from the animated film, but it kind of gets back to the question of, okay, why do it at all? Why remake a film that was perfectly fine on its own? The Jungle Book I kind of get because it was an older film, but did it really need to be remade? Was there really something about it that you thought, yeah, man, this is a perfect opportunity here to change this and change that? I really don't think so. And Beauty and the Beast is even more that way. What about this really needed to be changed? I know that there are some changes. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what those changes are, but I've heard that there are some changes made. But is it really necessary to remake Beauty and the Beast? I mean, right off the bat, the answer is no. It's not necessary. There's no need to do it. When I see these live-action remakes, the first thing that pops up in my head is just cash grab. It's just Disney, instead of investing in a new idea, just wants to kind of go over an idea that something they've already done, just make it live action, change it slightly, the remastered edition, so that they can make money off of it. I'm not saying that there's no effort, there's no sincerity in these movies. I'm just saying it's just cheap. Instead of giving us a new idea, you're just giving us something we've already seen, changing it slightly and presenting it like it's some new amazing product. I mean, when it's just not. It's not new. It might be slightly different, but we already know exactly what the story is, even if you try to change it up a little bit. The villain is a bit more realistic or whatever. It doesn't work for me. For other people, maybe it does. But ultimately, my problem with Beauty and the Beast is not just about the fact that, in my opinion, it's an unnecessary remake. It's not something that needed to be done. My problem is just with how it looks. There's really nothing about the trailer that is eye-catching to me. I mean, you see some of the characters, like, oh, you know, there's Lumiere. You know, you see the characters, and it's like, there's really nothing new or interesting about them. It just looks like the same thing again, except minus the beautiful animation. Dim it down a lot. I noticed these movies, they really like the dark tones. It's like, does it really have to be so dark? I mean, I understand, you know, it is Disney. You know, Disney's not known for being bright and lighthearted and colorful. But I'm just saying, you know, maybe you could lighten it up a little bit. I mean, if the movie itself is supposed to be darker and more serious, that's one thing. But it's Beauty and the Beast. It's not Frankenstein, okay? You know, I mean, that might be an interesting take, but just keep it Beauty and the Beast. But another problem I have with the trailer, aside from the fact that the background is just not engaging, it's too dark to make anything out, are the main characters. These are our main characters right here. And I know other people might look at this and think, oh my god, it's live-action Beauty and the Beast. It looks so amazing. It looks so beautiful. I'll admit, it doesn't look bad, but to me, there are three technically, glaring things just in this picture that really bug me. The first one is, that CG is really not convincing. It looks really cool. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I don't know, it's better than Beowulf, but I can still clearly tell that that's not really there. It would have been really cool if they had done practical effects. You could have, you know, filled in some of the spaces with CGI, but if they had done practical effects, it would have looked really cool. I mean, I would have loved to see a bunch of money put into great animatronics for the mouth, or whatever, I don't know. I want to see effort put into costume design, not just make everything CG and you know, I don't know, save time, save money. I know that CG is not cheap, but to me, this seems like they're just kind of, they're kind of cutting out early. It's like, no, fuck it. I don't know, just draw something and, you know, we'll make it a CGI head and whatever, and there you go. That's what you get. It'd be really cool if you could, you know, like, have an actual person, you know, with makeup, with some kind of props going on. I mean, look at this picture. They're not even really looking each other in the eye. He's looking at her forehead, and she's looking at his, like, either his upper lip or his nose. I mean, eyeline. One of the things you learn about CGI, eyeline. They're not looking at each other. This image doesn't work because they're not actually looking each other in the eye. That CGI, to me, it's just, I've seen this a million times. It's just not convincing. That does not look like something that's really there. It looks like a suit, and then somebody, like, put that head right on there in Photoshop. It does not look very convincing. Tack onto that the fact that he's ugly. Look at that face. That is ugly. I do not want to look at that. I think it's mainly the nose. Like, Beast in the animated film had a more kind of lion-like nose. That nose is weird. It's a little too human, but it's also really kind of straight edge. It almost doesn't even look like a normal human nose. It looks like a human nose that got crushed inward. It just looks weird. I mean, there's something about his face in general. It's too human. Beast in the original film looked like a beast. He looked like some kind of monster, but he wasn't ugly. I mean, he was, you know, sort of scary looking. He was intense looking, but he wasn't ugly. He kind of looked like a lion that had horns. You know, he looked like a monster, but he wasn't really ugly. You could kind of see the, I don't know what you'd call it. Not the beauty and just the look, but that even though he looked kind of grotesque and monstrous, he wasn't ugly. He wasn't really disgusting looking. To me, that's not disgusting looking. That just looks weird. This is like the difference between the animatronic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know that Michael Bay didn't direct it, but fuck it. From here on in, it is infamously known as Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But that difference, the face is just ugly. It looks like maybe the back 3/4 of it was supposed to be Beast, and then a human head was shoved through the makeup, even though it's not actual makeup, and there you go. You got a human face covered, like freaking hypertrichosis. You've got a human face covered in hair, and then like the back, 4/5 of it is kind of what would look like Beast. I mean, I don't know. I know it's kind of a nitpick, but I would not want to look at this for an entire film. You go back and you watch the animated film, and it's fine. It looks okay, Like I said, he looks monstrous, but he's not gross looking or weird looking. This is just too weird for me. Like I said, it's a little too human. He needs to look more monstrous so there's greater contrast for when he becomes human at the end. But, God, I don't know. I'm so distracted by this. It just looks so weird to me. And speaking of things that are distracting, hello, Emma Watson. Hello, Hermione dressed in the gown from Harry Potter and what was it? Oh, the Goblet of Fire? Seriously, that's not Belle. That's not Belle. I'm sorry. That's not Belle. Nothing against Emma Watson, but why couldn't they have gotten an actress who looked like Belle? I mean, Emma Watson to me just looks a little too young. I know she's like a couple years older than I am, but she looks too young to play this role. Belle was, supposed to be like 18 in the film, but she looked like a grown woman. She looked like she was in her 30s or at least her late 20s. I know Emma Watson is actually in her latter 20s, but she looks too young. I don't know. This just definitely is not the choice that I would have made. I would have chosen somebody who was not known. Maybe somebody who's brand new. Somebody who looks like Belle, but who can act, who can play the part. Because I feel like that would have made it feel more like Beauty and the Beast. I mean, if you went back, when they first came out with Beauty and the Beast, the original animated film, if Belle looked like a noted actress at the time, wouldn't that have been a little bit distracting? If it's like, oh, hey, that's insert person here. That would have been distracting. But no, you go back and you watch and it's like, that's Belle. That's who that is. I know who that is. I know that distinct look from any of the other quote-unquote Disney princesses. That's Belle right there. I know who that is. When I look at this, it's like, that's Emma Watson. That's not Belle. That's Emma Watson. That does not... she's pretty. She's pretty. Yeah, the dress looks nice, I guess. I mean, it looks like something you'd see in the film. Not that I'm a fashion expert, but that just does not look like Belle. The face doesn't look right. The hair doesn't look right. I know I'm nitpicking the specific appearance of a female character in a movie, but to me, even if you picked somebody who didn't perfectly look like Belle, but just somebody who was kind of a no-name actress, a newcomer, or something like that, it would have worked better. This would have felt like its own thing, and not like a remake where you're trying to just force in somebody who's known. Force in some actor who people know, and will be like, oh, hey, that's insert person here. I mean, it's too distracting for me. These two things, the fact that, I guess, like I said, three things. One, the really unconvincing CGI. Two, Beast looks really weird, like disturbingly strange. It's way too distracting. I can't keep looking at it. That doesn't look like Beast. It looks like the frickin' Green Man if he was covered in shit. And three, Emma Watson. Emma Watson as Belle. Because when I look at that, I don't think, oh, hey, that's Belle. That's a live-action version of Belle. Like, I should look at that and think, oh, wow, that's Belle. I mean, that looks just like her. It sounds like her. Oh, my God. I mean, like, that looks like that could have been her. Like Belle was based on a real person. That's what you should think. You shouldn't look at it and go, oh, hey, look, it's Emma Watson. That's not convincing. That doesn't work. That ruins the illusion. Whatever illusion you're trying to go for, gone immediately. As kind of a quick side note, when I was looking up pictures for Beauty and the Beast, I actually came across a version of Beauty and the Beast that I didn't even know existed. It's a French version that came out in 2014. Now, the only reason why I bring this up is because look at this Beast. Look at that. I mean, that actually looks like Beast. I mean, it's still CGI, but honestly, it's kind of better looking. It looks better than the CGI version for the American Beauty and the Beast, somewhat ironically, and it looks a lot more like the animated Beast. Honestly, this looks more entertaining to me than the American version, just looking at the trailer. It looks different, like less of a remake and more of a unique telling of the story. I just thought that was important to point out because I came across this picture and I was like, wow, that actually looks like what Beast should look like. I was wondering, it's like, is this some sort of early concept for what he should look like for the American version? No, actually, this is the French version. I mean, it's just kind of funny that the American Disney film couldn't really get Beast's appearance right, but the French version got it more right. I just find that kind of funny. Like I said, I know I'm making a bigger deal out of this than I should, but I'm sorry. These few things, these little nitpicks are just a bit too distracting for me. Not that I was wild and crazy about it when I first heard about it. It's like, oh my god, Beauty and the Beast! Like I said, when I first heard that they're supposedly going to remake Lion King, I mean, my thoughts on that are different. I just feel like it'd be wiser if they just didn't do that. With this, it was like, okay. It was kind of like with Cinderella. It's like, okay, I mean, maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. I'm not losing my mind over it, but I'm not really going to be upset if it doesn't end up being that good. And it's the same with this. I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't do well. I just kind of feel like this is an interesting movie, and this could be really good, and you might actually get my money if you just hadn't done these very particular things, if you hadn't made it look so dark and unattractive, if you hadn't made Beast look like a freaking freak of nature. I know he's Beast, but just make him look monstrous, make him look intimidating. That's another thing. If you look in the trailer, he's not scary. I mean, yeah, he's freaky looking, but he's not scary. Beast is supposed to be intimidating. Like, the first time you see him, especially if you're thinking this is like live action, he's supposed to look like something where if you saw that, you would shit your pants. You'd be like, what the fuck is that? Now, you might shit your pants when you look at this, but not because you're scared, just because you feel like there was some sort of unsanctioned genetic research going on, and this is the product of that. So yeah, those are basically my thoughts on this. I mean, do with them what you will. If you want to go see this movie, go see it. It's not like it's harmful. I just really wish that they would do something else. I mean, when I learned that Disney supposedly sunk $300 million into this, I thought, damn, man, it'd be really cool if they had spent that money on something new and different. Like, if we had gotten another Zootopia. I don't mean like a sequel necessarily, although that would be cool, but something new that people didn't expect that was like kind of a surprise hit. You know, people were like, wow, man, that was actually a really good film. I mean, if they had taken that money and put it into something new and different, that would have been much cooler than just remaking something that didn't need to be remade, and by the looks of it, it doesn't really look like it's going to be that good. There's really nothing about it that is beautiful or captivating. It just kind of looks like they wanted to make it in live action, so they spewed some CG onto it and threw a noted actress in there and said, hey, there you go, it's Beauty and the Beast, or whatever the fuck this is. So yeah, I don't know about you, but I think I know what movie I'm going to see this weekend. Kong Skull Island. Oh yeah. Time to see if some amazing cinematography and some badass action can be completely ruined by John C. Reilly being unfunny and Samuel L. Jackson being just a little too over the top. In the meantime, I'm Drachona, and have a nice day. Waiting for the train. Okay, that's probably far enough away.